On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Most men understand they're going to get who they qualify for, and that's who they pursue.
Yo, listen, all you got to do is ask all of the chicks that identified as the nerds and the good girls in their lives, and I bet you I will be willing to put up a Mr. Logic bet that the overwhelming majority of them, it will say, yes, I was overlooked.
That's the kind of bet you don't have to pay.
She throwing shots at you.
No.
But no, hold on. I would bet you that the overwhelming majority of chicks
will say they was overlooked for the
job. Will say that they was overlooked.
Yeah, me and Kay had a discussion about this. And we compared it to thinking about Urkel, but thinking about also Myra, the pretty nerd girl, but she was overlooked by the nerd. So it does happen. And Kay told her story and I told my story.
On point. I agree. That's why I say that friend zones is only one way. I think women only friend zone men. And then even though we'll say that men can friend zone women, but whenever it come up that opportunity, that man, his other head will speak for itself. And guess what? He'll actually jump on it. That's always happening.
I gotta ask. I'm sorry, Mr. Logic. Well, you finished. I'm sorry, bro.
Oh, you good? Go ahead, bro.
Okay, my man. So I gotta push back a little bit at a time, and the reason why is because I would ask first. In your formative years, high school, college, so on and so forth. What did you identify as? What did you identify as? Like, did you identify
heterosexual?
No. Oh, you didn't do the answer. You didn't do the answer. Well, you
a man.
Hello, motherfucker.
I don't know what you asking, really. What you talking about?
I ain't finished that. I didn't finish adding the context, man.
Bruh.
I hate it here. When I say what did you identify as, what I'm saying is the jock, the thug, the athlete, the popular kid. Did you identify on that side, or did you identify on the nerd side? Because when you say and you speak for and you say men by and large overlook the woman, I just think the nerds would like to have a conversation. That's all.
No, well, we don't really care about what the nerds think. Like,
I kind of do.
I mean, good for you. I don't, because they should have married that chick that was playing Dungeons and Dragons and Pokemon with them at the lunch table.
But that's the point, Anton. They did marry the chick that was playing Dungeons and Dragons with them at the lunch table.
How you figure that, Rilla? Where you get that stat from?
Anton,
what are you looking at, Rilla? What is on the left side? What are you talking about?
I mean, that does exist. I hear stories about, oh, we've been friends since we were in middle school. I mean, that's the thing, that there are people out there like that.
True.
So what I'm asking you is,
it probably does.
So what I'm asking you, Anton, is just respectfully, bro, because I asked you a direct question, and it's not about, F the nerds. What I'm asking you is, who are you speaking for when you say, because I could equally say, well, where do you get that stat?
I'm speaking for all men. Even the dudes even the nerds, they wanted the bad chick. They fantasized about the bad chick. They all wanted the same chicks. What are you talking about? And if they got money too fast, if they didn't have to have rites of passage and they had to go to college and then slowly bloom and turn into the man that they are, if they got money too fast, bro, we see nerds that get money too fast and then they lose their cool and then they chasing the same chicks that all of the rappers is chasing. Like, real talk. Like, it happens all the time. It happens the same way. All dudes chase the same dudes, even dudes that's famous. Have you noticed that all of these same chicks get passed around and they all dating the same chicks? They're all chasing the same ones, bro. But my point is this. The nerd dudes is the same as the other dudes, right? They all still wanted to be noticed by that other chick. And I'm gonna use one of your sources. I decided to pivot a little bit, Rilla. Look at all of the movies. All of the old movies from the 80s and the 90s, they all fantasized about being with the popular girl at school. And then the other girl, the little nerdy girl that was hanging around them all the time, they just looked at them as friends because they never took no interest in them in the first place. So they friend zoned them chicks. And then what will happen is eventually they might get with them chicks, But the real life situation is that a lot of dudes overlook a chick, and if they lucky, the chick will stick with them long enough for the dude to realize and come to his senses. Yo, you know what? This chick is actually dope. She rocking with me. I'm a grown man now. I'm moving a little bit in the direction. But the majority, at some point, all of us overlook. Even me. I wasn't even checking for the chick that I wound up marrying. I was busting down all of the other chicks, and then Rita held me down, and she was just my best friend, and I wouldn't let nobody touch her because, you know, I knew that she was a good girl. But the reality is that she was holding me down, and I wasn't really checking for her, which was one of the reasons why we was friends. She asked me to take her virginity. I've told this story a million times. I said no. I turned her down multiple times. I'm like, nah, and ain't nobody else doing it because you're too much of a good girl. But I wasn't marrying her at the time. I wasn't trying to make her my chick or none of that. So we all, men, all of us overlook the chicks in our lives at some point in our life. I don't know what you're doing like this for. What is this?
Because I adamantly disagree, bro. Listen, even in the examples that you use when you go back to movies, and we can go through every John Hughes movie on the face of the earth, the man that fantasized about the hot chick ultimately got the woman that he qualified for.
It don't mean that he didn't overlook the chick that he qualified for before he was chasing a hot chick. What are you talking about?
Anton, I think you.
I'm not talking. Listen, Rilla. The question is not who do you end up with. The question is, do men often overlook the women in their lives? And they do.
And I would disagree. And is it okay that we disagree, bro?
No, because I'm right. I'm right as hell. Like, I'm right as fuck on this, bro. I know we do.
Yeah, I don't think you're right, bro. I don't think you're right. I think if me and you went to Cass Tech and sat at the lunch table, we would see with the observable eye what's what, bro.
If you
dudes are going to fantasize about the hot chick all the time, Anton, you made a whole case about dudes even being scared to approach a woman, right? How are you overlooking the nerd chick that's next to you? Here's the hot cheerleader chick, and you scared to approach her. Yeah,
just because you won't approach this chick don't mean that you're not overlooking this chick.
What I'm saying, bro, is
two things can be true at the same time.
You're exactly right. I agree with you. And what I'm saying is, by and large, all of us are, have fantasized about, this, that, and the third, blase, blase, blase. But I think by and large, and I could be wrong, y'all could prove me wrong. I think by and large, most men understand they're going to get who they qualify for, and that's who they pursue.
Yo, listen, all you got to do is ask all of the chicks that identified as the nerds and the good girls in their lives. And I bet you I will be willing to put up a Mr. Logic bet that the overwhelming majority of them, it will say, yes, I was overlooked.
That's the kind of bet you don't have to pay.
She's throwing shots at you.
No.
Hold on. I would bet you that the overwhelming majority of chicks
will say they was overlooked for the
job. Will say that they was overlooked.
Yeah, me and Kay had a discussion about this. And we compared it to thinking about Urkel, but thinking about also Myra, the pretty nerd girl, but she was overlooked by the nerd. So it does happen. Kay told her story and I told my story.